Alright, 1, 2, 3. Just give me a second to bring up the camera. Hello everyone from Oz, g'day, and all the other Australian quirks. Now, quick question and see if we can give a quick answer. I was asked today basically, I'm only making 10 to 15%, what am I doing wrong? And the first question I had to ask is, how long and what kind of trades? I guess the first thing you should need to remind yourself whenever you're making or trying to make money is what you're competing with. Again, this is not financial advice, everyone. No, I don't know shit, and I probably could be trying to scam you right now, but let's move ahead. So, yeah. Alright, now at the end of the day, it's what type of person are you? What type of trading are you doing? Are you chasing the highs, or are you looking for the lows? Excuse me for a second. Yeah. The impression I got is he's only been in it for a couple of weeks. Now, the biggest thing I've found is when you're trying to make capital from capital, it takes time. And once you've started making capital, it seems to compound, and if you're doing something right, that capital will grow pretty quickly. Now, the first thing I did was invest in some ICOs. Now, look, I wasn't looking for the big Neo or Ethereum, but I was just looking for something to build capital. So I'll quickly go through some examples. I'm going to get rid of this crap. This is not a comprehensive list, but this is a list from something I actually haven't opened up for a while. So, now, examples of some of the ICOs I've been in. Now, Everex. Most of these, I would say, if not all of these, have profited at various levels. So I would say even my friends at Decent Bet, that $100 is about $700 right now. I'm holding that. Dimcoin, we won't go there. Research Dim shit BTC issues, and yeah, you'll feel my pain. That $50 at one stage on hit BTC was about 3,000, 4,000 US, but because all the wallets are in maintenance mode, yeah, it's one of those painful things. Like watching a train wreck from afar, knowing you can't do much about it, and knowing that a lot of people are having issues because they've put the deposits in and they've, surprise, surprise, gone missing on hit BTC. So, look, I have still got it in my wallet. I'm get iffy about the team. I think this is one of my naive decisions, but they're talking about interfacing stock exchange with cryptos. I have heard, the almighty YouTuber Cliff has referenced it. I might be wrong, but I have heard that in the grapevine. And I guess if they do get the product going, it would be interesting because stock exchange is a lot of money, and crypto could be a good way of spending it, or it could work the other way. Now, some of these ones we should know. Power Ledger. I invested in Power Ledger mainly because of, ironically, one reason. Australian. And that gave me a few other reasons because I'm Aussie. Yep. Now, in Australia, we tend to have some pretty strong consumer laws. So even if you're going to do an ICO, if you're a registered business and you run business in Australia, then you can't make misrepresentation. So, interesting place. There's some implied protection, I guess, from being in Australia. Now, I was also aimed at the electricity market in Australia. That's a debacle. Ask our governments, ask anyone except for the electricity companies who are laughing all their way to the bank. So, this is a bit disappointing why I see some of these electricity companies also combine with Power Ledger. It would have been better for it to be purely a community way of maybe just leveling the playing field and putting some competition, genuine competition, back into the market. But yep, Power Ledger. Look, I'm gotta say I bought at 200 and I probably sold at 2,000, and I'm still watching that space. Like, I got rid of all my money and I just staggered it out over the time. But who knows? I still think there's a lot of hype. They're very good media users. You watch, they've always got something coming out. But some of that news is, as far as I know, kind of news that's already there, just hasn't been publicised. So it's like regurgitated news that they've known about before the ICO. Okay. BetKing, look, I put that in, took a while, eventually got some money ahead of that. It wasn't huge profits, but I'd say at least maybe 50% return. Look, and if I'm putting that $50 in the pokies, I'd lose it. If I put that $50 in the bank, I might have got, crikey, 50 cents over the year. So look, I'm happy. Remember, profit's profit. Atlant is a dark horse, and I'm still watching that one at the moment. and it looks like it's just starting to perform. Same thing with Brick Block. Look, that's had a few snags, and I'm going to let the team have a go at that. But the idea is investing in real estate and getting a return through the smart contract. So I think that's a good idea. I didn't put too much. As you see some of these ones, you can probably see from a $5,000 start off, I wasn't putting very much in to get very much return. One chain, well, we're still waiting on that one. Yeah, waiting on that one. Ha ha ha. But this one could be a really good payoff. As you can see from the amount I've invested, the hype, look, they're comparing it to Ripple, which might be an oversell, but shit, if it can only just do a little damage to Ripple in that sense, then and if it's more adopted, because the Ripple is really only used by the banks, then yeah, who knows? Watch that one in a few years' time, I might be laughing and buying myself a house, and that's the goal of financial independence. So, not trying to become a millionaire overnight, and some commentators have done fairly well in the last year. But yeah, Jesus, I'd just be happy to pay off the house. Actually, in Australia, I'd be happy to pay off my power bill and the mortgage. Some people in Sydney have got some real bad mortgages, so look, I'll be happy to pay it all off in cash and not have to avoid all that. Now, back to this. Raiden, QuantStamp, look, and go do your research. These things have done some pretty good returns, and I'm still not finished with it yet. I still think these things are long-term returns. And these are not the only ICOs. A lot of ICOs I've converted into my medium to short long-term profile, which I'll show in a minute. INS, look, I invested in that because there seems to be some partnerships. It seems to be, look, the product itself, I'm not sure, but if we're going to argue about product, then half of these coins that make it in this space, forget it. It's about the ability to probably do what Power Ledger does. If you've got a lot of partnerships and you don't release the news right up, and then you wait for it to take release, and then you stagger your news nicely, and you keep it relevant, then you can keep driving up those prices and keep getting the hype going. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen with INS. Now, co-investing, look, I like the idea. I think, to me, it reminds me a bit of eToro and stuff like that, and anything that makes investing now could be way off the bat. To be honest, I haven't fully gone through the white paper on co-investing, but what I did initially see, look, taught me to go, look, I'll put $200 on this, and if it does anything like get the market, like forex usage gets done by eToro, then great. If community people start using it, great. Lockie, yeah. Now I bought this, and I'll be honest, intellectual property on the blockchain sounds like a good idea, but I think it's going to be bloody difficult. But the bloke, he's pumping it, the goat himself, Suppo Man, hello everyone. Look, who knows? You can't ignore the influences. So yes, I like the idea of IP on the blockchain, more the ability to search and do that stuff, but also backed up with some hype. Let's see where this one goes. Telcoin, yeah, okay. I'll be honest here, this is because of Ian Ballina. Now, don't bullshit, no lie. Yeah, fair enough, Telcoin, yeah, the white paper, great. But to be honest, the real reason why I'm investing in this is because of the hype. Nothing more. It's just going to be a pump and dump for me. Now, if it turns to do it 5 times, I might keep 2, and I'll might save the rest for a rainy day. Give to my kids for their super fun, which they won't have because our government will probably stooge it. Now, I'm going to come back into this page here. Yeah, okay. So 0x, oh, that was a nice ICO. I like the idea. I think it's going to go further and further as regulations creep in. Ability to exchange without having a middleman, who knows. Now, I'm going to be honest, when I first started off, I just kind of bought some, at the low, I bought randoms. And, well, I think that's done quite well. Because that's now, I think that, yeah, so, yeah, don't worry about that. Cobb, oh yeah, hello. I bought Cobb and I didn't pay much for it. I paid $77 for my Cobb, and I reckon, as of, I haven't got my phone on me, but I swear she's over a couple of grand. Okay, the cost, oh, that's another beauty. I paid that, I paid $129 at ICO. I then sold at about $350 350, wait for it to drop again, bought my 350 back at a lower price, and I reckon I'm shy of about $5,000 on that right about now. And I'm happy to produce it if anyone doubts me. Kyber, well, that's been doing quite well. That's been doing a nice little fire, and I'm going to keep that. That's a long term as well. So, Kyber, Zero X, for me, they're long terms, and for some beautiful reason is that the exchanges have been firing lately. I think, from what I'm hearing, there's a massive backlog in the major exchanges of trying to get people through, and I think they've even suspended new users for the moment. So these small exchanges, this is godsend. This is like, preordained. So I'm thinking these small exchanges could do quite well, and if they just manage to keep that market and then use it to promote another market, who knows? Well, could be some big bucks coming back on those ones because they're low market caps. KNC, I think that's Kyber. Yeah, Dow Casino. Now, yeah, I made money, but it wasn't a huge amount. I think I put in 50, made 80. Alright, now Dash, I bought that at a low. I come in July, so July was a nice crash, and I noticed there was a fair chunk of a dip, which almost is what's happened today. $60 billion has come off the market cap at least, but on an $800 billion market cap, it's not as big as dip, where I think it went from 180 to 80, or something crazy in July, and the exchange rate for Australian dollar and the US dollar was beautiful. So I bought up some of these little coins, but the coins with reputation. So I didn't go out and buy FUCK coin or something stupid. So I bought Dash, and Dash is, if you look at what goes on with Dash, it's the mining and the support and the way it's done, and I really think it's a good contender. I think it's right up there with Litecoin and Bitcoin for its practicality. Myself, I don't mind a bit of Dash. Day was a unique opportunity that might still be a unique. Who knows? The idea was it's you get a time mint and you get day tokens, and the earlier your time mint was, so you had 1 to 8,008, no, 1 to, let's say, 300 rand, and 1 was the strongest and 300 being the weakest. And if you had the number 1 time mint, you were actually minting day tokens based on time. So after every set interval, over time, you are naturally accruing tokens, and this idea is pretty attractive. I think it has some concept, especially with finance and bonds. So I'm not getting rid of that one yet. I could have written that off and thrown that in the heap, but look, it could be a $249 loss at the time. So I usually buy and measure in fiat. I know people have a big problem with that, but as far as I'm concerned, it's what I'm going to have to buy my house with for the meantime. So I'm happy to deal with fiat. When the economics of the world change and some of these coins become more mainstream, as in I can buy major assets with it, look, by all means. Okay. Now, Digibyte, hey, that's a little horse. That one there I bought cheap, and believe it or not, it's actually still paid off. It hasn't paid off huge amounts, and I know people will go, oh yeah, but I can make $7,000. Look, I reckon it's done a double or a triple since I've bought that, and I'm happy. I'm happy to get rid of it. It means nothing to me, like many ex-girlfriends. It means nothing. Get rid of it. DNT now, Jesus, this is the old days of ICOs were great. It kind of, you had things do immediate booms. It was like DNT come out in the market and went kaboom. And I think it went from 3 cents to 20 cents. And by jingos, an Australian term, I cashed out some DNT then. And then it went crunch, and it come back to about 4 cents and sat there forever and a day. Now it got back up to 8 cents, and I remember I cashed out initially and some profit, and then I decided at 8 cents I'd cash out again, but I cashed out the whole lot. So I still made some substantial profit. Now, again, this is what I'm saying with these coins. Sometimes, Jesus, if you just let these coins run, you can get some pretty good return. Now, DNT, I think, is doing alright. Last time was about 14 cents. Now, mind you, a lot of things have piked down lately. So, in the last day or so, the market's looking a bit bearish for me. Okay, so if it's not quite there, it was there. EOS, oh shit, a brick. This was a beautiful coin, and another classic example when I should have held. I got rid of it, and I got rid of it for about $2, but it's travelling around about 10 at the moment. So anyone that bought in on EOS is probably having a pretty good year, especially if they've got a nice portfolio of it. Ethereum, yep, you need it. If you want to trade in ICOs, you're going to probably want Ethereum. So you're always going to look for good entry points to buy if you think that it's going to go up. Because if you've got an ICO on the radar and you haven't got Ethereum in your pocket, then you're going out and buying it, and chances are you're going to be buying it in a rushed way. You're not going to be sitting there going, oh yeah, I got 3 hours, because a lot of these ICOs lately, especially because I think the Ethereum price has caught a lot of the pre-sales off guard. If you're lucky and the sale actually goes for a big coin, then yeah, you want to have your Ethereum ready to roll. You don't want to be mucking around with that shit. At time when you want to buy. So have some Ethereum in your pocket. Now, here's a tip. This is what I did. I did this with the kids. I went and spent some money. So I bought $500 RX 480 card, whacked it in a computer, and I dual mined. So I mined some SIA and I mined some Ethereum on the GPU, and I also mined Monero on the CPU. So that basically keeps me with a little bit of dribble. So I'm getting about 0.1, 0.2, I think, Ethereum a month, plus some SIA, plus Monero. So I've always got a bit of skin in the game if an ICO comes up and there's a low entry point. Excuse me. Now, so Ethereum, yes, you're going to need it, and I think the same boat's going to happen with Neo. And definitely, if you've got some Neo, don't get rid of it, because I think that it's going to be some big ICOs coming up that, again, don't close because of the huge pre-sales. Then yeah, you're going to want some Neo. So Neo and Ethereum are going to be pretty important coins for this year, I see at the moment. Now, I love my LTC, we'll get to that in a minute. IOTA, whoo! Now I bought this dirt cheap, and it's gone flying through the roof and cashed out at a pretty good rate because of some misinformation, and I'm still keeping just a slow floating stock. So nothing much, but I've just got a little bit left. I think it potentially, I like the idea of things, but I made my money. Don't worry about that. IOTA in July was dirt cheap, and I sold it in December for a lot more than I paid for it. And that I guess also shows a lot of a trend for these coins. So if you're prepared to hold over a few months and not willing to stress and bloody, have fear and uncertainty and doubt and all that other crap they like to throw at you. But anyway, if you're a bit patient, like most things, they're going to bounce back if they've got quality. So you might see something pull back, and it might pull back substantially. And if you couldn't find an exit point, get out to USDT or Tether and quick enough, then you might as well just hold. At that point, I think if it's a good coin, it'll bounce back. And in a year time, you might be laughing, going, it wasn't that, just a small blip on the radar. Alright, that brings us back up to LTC. Or have you done me well this year? This is not obviously one I didn't get in ICO, and this is an example of a coin you can do medium to long term strategies with. LTC is one of those coins that just works, and unlike BTC, when all the mums and dads jumped in a month ago when futures kicked its guts, and BTC had a massive, huge $8 billion backlog with, I think, 200,000 transactions in squillion days to clear out. And guess who was chugging along quite happily? LTC. And it's allowed people to convert on at the exchange and send money back by LTC. And all of a sudden, LTC got some looking. And the funniest comment I saw on Facebook was, LTC's a shit coin. It was only used because BTC had issues. I'm thinking, that's a good example of a good coin. It's a coin that does what it's meant to do, holds up the pressure, and is scalable. So I don't mind LTC. And rumours are 1,000 to 1,500 this year. So look, I sold a lot of it for a lot of money. And actually I've got nothing in it at the moment. I'm waiting for a retraction, because even with the rest of the market going pretty strong the last couple of weeks, LTC just seems to be stuck in a rut. So we'll see. If it can break 280, 310, I'm back in. And if I can see maybe some news or a tweet from Charlie, then who knows, I might get back in before that. So, but who knows, it could drop back to 210, 180, and all them are good entry points. And again, if I just couldn't give a shit, I'd put $1,000, $2,000 down and come back next Christmas and see what we're looking at. It's one of those kind of coins. That's my personal, again, not financial advice, but that's just how I read it. NEO. Ooh. If China changes, well, NEO's doing very well without China at the moment, which is kind of strange. But who knows? It wouldn't take much to send NEO to the moon with a very restrictive space around it. When those restrictions are relaxed, or the appearance of them are relaxed, I think it's going to be a very interesting coin. As you can see, I bought some nice bits at about 36. No, I reckon I bought some at 25, 36, and no, I didn't buy any at 50. But yeah, look, I got a nice amount of NEO, so not huge. I've seen some guys who got thousands, and I cry when I hear that shit. But I don't try and compete with the Joneses, because the Joneses have always got a bigger TV than me. You know? So yeah, NEO looks good for this year as well. Next, now, I reckon it's just another one of those shit coins I bought in July that might come back and actually reward me. So I'm still, it hasn't hugely moved, but it has been a profit. Pay, well, we won't go there, but I can tell you, I got rid of it for more than I paid for it. But I did. Some people get stung with that, and there were some big rumours about people in that company liquidating very quickly afterwards. Rumours, alleged, don't send your lawyers. SafeX. Whoa. Haven't you had a rough road? I still think this coin can do alright. It's not abandoned. It's been abandoned by the exchanges, but it's not abandoned by the team. I would get more than my money back for that right now if I could go through the headache of going through some obscure exchange, and I would get probably 8 times my return. So I would not complain. But I'm holding that. I think for what I paid for it is, yeah, look, I think to be honest, I paid a bit more than that. I bought $100 worth not so long after that, so that's not quite accurate. But that 100 is about 800. And for $100, we'll see. It could be like going to a casino and going, shit. And it is. That one is. We could come back and go, well, that was $2,000 for my $100. That horse was a good horse. See ya. Mate, I personally got to say, I gave this crew grief on Twitter. They released a miner, or they're doing it in conjunction with Obelisk, and I kind of gave them grief because Obelisk wanted payment in, I think, Litecoin and Bitcoin, and I kind of joked and said, because this is the new SEER ASIC miner, I said, well, why don't you take payment in SEER? And yeah, it was tongue-in-cheek, but it was a point that the price of SEER was very volatile and very undervalued. Now, I gotta say, I think because maybe the miners, maybe because, I don't know, I can't see what the news is, I haven't seen anything major. But SEER's kicked ass. It's come back. It's now reached $1 billion in the market cap. Where the did that come from? Yeah, so I'll eat some humble pie and SEER. Now, this is one of the products I've actually tried. Have you ever tried doing the SEER wallet or the sharing? It's not straight up front, and I think there's a few issues with the product itself. We'll never, and this is one thing I'll say of most ICOs that swear they're going to have enterprise grade storage solutions. It's a little pipe dream that's well off until fiber brings the latency down, because I know I don't want Dropbox. I want something that's almost like a direct attached storage. I want something that's got low latency, if possible redundancy. I want to set the file system. I want to, and if I can, or depending on the company I'm working with, I might have frameworks and legislation that says I can't have my data sitting outside a certain geographical boundary. So look, I don't know where SEER pulled the growth from, and I'd be struggling if it's coming from the wallet or anything, but maybe I suggest maybe because the miners are coming online and that's going to secure the network. So that's my hunch without actually being educated. Alright, Sun Network token. This was my first. She popped my cherry. This was Power Ledger, well before Power Ledger, and I think there's some angst between Sun and Power Ledger, because I think Sun had requested or paid for a product. Research this, but there's some history apparently between Sun and Power Ledger. happy for Power Ledger or Sun to come up and tell us exactly what's going on, because I think that's legitimate history that'd be nice to know. But I think the rumour is one person owed someone else or something. Yeah, there was an agreement that wasn't honoured by Power Ledger. I think it made the impression that Power Ledger had done the infraction. But Sun is like a Power Ledger, but peer-to-peer blockchain. It was out in July, as I said, my very first ICO. Put $50 in. I gotta say that $50, even after cashing out initials and doing that over, it's probably made me $1,500, $2,000. And I'm still holding. This is a very undervalued coin. Have a look at the market cap. I still think if this, because it's in Europe, so the user base is much bigger. But again, Power Ledger I think is trying to tack on, India and stuff like that. But do your research on India and how it likes to play with power companies, and it's not all smooth sailing. So. Whereas Europe is a bit more open to this kind of thing. I think blockchain, Europe, Slovenia, a lot of these countries are leaders, and this is where I think Sun is from. Slovenia. It's one of my very first ones. It was a fairly decent day back in the days with Slack, and I still think they have a Slack channel. But yeah, look, they only got $3 million out their ICO, and which is a pale in comparison to I think whatever it was, 140 million or something crazy for Power Ledger. Oh no, so 30 million for Power Ledger. Oh, well, yeah, someone will correct me, but it's a lot bigger than bloody Sun, and I think Sun's made it work better. And I'm still watching that space. I'm holding it as a long term. If it does it shit, finds it straps, gets it done in Europe, why not? I'll have one in Australia and I'll have one in Europe. Thank you. Let's diversify that portfolio. And that's another thing. Don't be afraid to have a competitor. I've invested in SOM and in what's the other one? I'll see. There's another one around. SOM and bear with us. GNT, yeah. So SOM and GNT are fairly similar products, outsourcing, parallel processing, yada yada yada. There's nothing wrong with two people in the same space. It can happen, and sometimes they slightly overlap, and sometimes they might find new markets. So I would never be afraid of an ICO that attempts to infringe on another person's or another ICO space. Okay, so we're slowly getting through it. USDT there. Always have a floating stock of that. Can't stress it enough. The amount of times you'll see something, want something, and you just need cash. That will do it, because you can buy Ethereum, you can do anything, you can go all the way. And if the market goes up or down, that's alright, that's fair enough. But if it goes down, you hedge yourself. If it goes up, well, so what? You've still got your other coins riding as well. So I always think having that is a bit of security, especially if you've got that in Australia. I've got it on my Australian exchange, so if worst gets to worst, I've got my initial already out in USDT. We'll just call it Tether. Fuck it. I've got my initial out on Tether, and then some more. After that, these coins can not say rot to hell, but I've made money, and I've made more than twice. 200% beat the bank. Now at the moment, I'm well above that. But let's be realistic. If I come down to earth in a hard way, would I be happy to walk out with twice what I started with and take the kids and the wife on a holiday? Yeah. What's the best case scenario? I can buy a house, or the taxman asks. Yeah, who knows? But you just got to. Main thing I always do is try and review your wins and losses too. So there hasn't been many losses here. There's been some big wins, and there've been some little wins. And sometimes it'd be nice to find all those big wins, but sometimes you don't let those big wins pay off till later on. And that's where I'll have an argument right now. Ian Bellina had a feed on his Telegram saying, if you can beat me, then come and show me. And I kind of argue, well, those metrics, things have changed, right? And you can go off and try and compete with guys like Ian Bellina, but remember, he's got a following. He just says buy this coin, the coin pumps. Alright? So at the end of the day, you can't compete against some of these big players doing whatever they do. Yeah, all you can do is just compete within yourself. If you can make money for yourself, you can make some money. You can beat the banks. You can beat your super. Bonus. Alright, if you can retire in 5 years, and I'll give credit. I'll give Ian credit. Don't mind him. I think he's pretty good. Yeah, and I'll say, go watch his stuff. You'll get a good understanding of how to approach the market. I'm all for it. It's kind of like martial arts. Go everywhere, learn it everywhere. Yeah, the more they learn, you better. But Ian's good. Stay away from Suppo. He's dangerous. He's kind of like no more than a bloody snake oil peddler in a casino. Alright, but yes, so back to it. You can't compete with everyone. Just compete. Just make sure you come out in front. If you feel like you're struggling, put it away for a while. Come back. Again, I had an argument with a guy on Twitter, and he showed me someone's portfolio, and he bought OMG, I think, at $10 and sold at $6, and then screamed back to his investment broker saying, "Well, this shit shouldn't happen. This is not fair." And the investment, because we're talking about high risk, and the investment guy was giving me grief saying, you're in crypto, that's high risk. And I said, well, your customers are in high risk too, and you always got 25%, and I got a lot more. But at the end of the day, his reply was, here's a picture of someone in their OMG statement. And then I laughed because OMG was nearly $20. And so if he hadn't sold it at that low, he'd be at least twice better off than he was. So again, buy a quality coin, it drops. Yeah, it's painful, I'll admit it. Understand your psychology. It hurts watching red on your sheet, but look, it'll come back. If it's a good coin, they haven't done something stupid and suicidal, haven't been, and look, even then, they still can do it and they get away with it. That's the thing. It'll bounce back. The whole market cap will come back up, and all of a sudden it'll be a new all-time high, and you'll kick yourself for selling. Okay? But if you buy a shit coin, get rid of it. Yeah, acknowledge it's a shit coin. Get rid of it as soon as you can. Hive Network. Now, this one here, I'm still waiting to play out. TGT. It's an interesting one. This is one of those ones where they say, we'll invest and we'll get a refund. You'll get some money. Now, there's some other ones around, and this was, this is an interesting background. There's a lot of darkness around the team, hence why I think I only put in, 50 Australian, 40 American. I wasn't looking for profit, but I was just kind of interesting because the way the team had set up, the way it was presented, and then guess what? I have actually got ETH payments. They've been small, and I guess it's probably comparative to what I've invested. But I've had my weekly payment, and because the weekly payment was almost costing as much as the transaction, we agreed to do it monthly. But it's paying off, so I guess can't call it a fail yet. A fail is when they disappear, take my money, and I've got no way. And it's realise what a fail is. A fail is something's really wrong. TNT. Oh Jesus, I don't want to know about this one. But I did sell at very marginal profit. But our friend Wayne kept changing the rules about how the nodes and that were getting set up, and the way and the cost. So I think originally it was, don't quote me, it might have been either way, 2,500 TNT to run a node, and you paid the way it was is you actually lost money until you struck it rich, and then they decided to double it to 5,000. Now they might, again, the numbers not be right, but they definitely did double the initial cost. So if you wanted to run a node, they decided after a couple of days, the node cost is going to cost you twice as much to be involved in, and we're now going to restrict the amount of nodes actually. So anytime some shit like that starts to change after the ICO, sentiment usually goes, look, I'll sell where I can and I can get a profit, but I've kind of lost confidence in the team, and look, we'll still see how that one plays out. I haven't heard much to really say it's been a boomer, but now True Flip gambling coins, I don't mind a good gambling coin, but to be honest, they haven't paid off heaps. Look, I made maybe $50 on that one. It's not huge dollars, but same thing. Look, the only one I've really had fun with, and I've had another one, I think it was Bet King, and that did pay off again. Probably about 30-40% of what I initially invested in, but decent bet. Now, my friends, a decent bet. Anytime you want to come around and play poker, I'm here. Jacks can be right here ready for you. Look, I like it. I think the team had a lot of energy. I like what they're trying to do, and you know what? They sent me a bloody decent bet token. And for me, I think that said a lot because it came from Vegas, and it would have costed. It did. It cost more than the bloody would have had to have the thing made. And I appreciate that. I think small times when you see a team that's willing to do the small yards, because again, product quality is not always top of the range. Most of these new ICOs are white paper. So for someone to actually go, look, here, and they sent me a couple for my kids as well. So my kids have got a new age to coin collection, and that is called. I'd like to build it up, have my proper old fashioned, the ones where they fold out in the little sleeves, and I'd get Bitcoin, Litecoin there. I'd love to have one of them, the modern day age bloody coin collection, and yeah, just for austerity, I guess. Alright, keep moving on. Then I bought this one in July with my initial, as it was cheap and I knew nothing and I needed it to get into Dim Coin ICO. I'm glad I did though, because I never got rid of the Zem and I got a 30% for Dim. So a lot of people who bought Dim, I think at 1 cent and then 4 cents at the second ICO, I reckon I bought it at basically I was 30% cheaper because I use Zem. Main reason. Monero, I mine it. If you've got a half decent computer, cheap power, or even then, I won't even say that. Our power in Australia is probably the worst in the world. You have a look in South Australia. We tick a few boxes for power costs. I think it works out to about 40 cents, or let's say 45 cents a kilowatt. So in American terms, probably about 40 cents a kilowatt. So we're pretty, and considering we're surrounded by heat and everything, I don't know why, but yeah. So what I did to offset, because I host a web server and a few other things, and it's hence the reason why I've got a bit of IT background, I don't mind this technology, and to cover some of the costs on that, I've got one PC that runs again RX 480, and that does all the mining. Now, a few months ago, I would have laughed and said, yeah, and I think it was, look, we were lucky to make $100 a month. But in a few months, we've held that, and I think that $100 is now $2,000 because Monero's jumped through the guts, Sears jumped through the guts, Ethereum's decided to go for an all-time run. I love mining. I'm tempted to go get another RX 480. If anyone wants to throw me one for I don't know, I'll buy it for crypto, let me know. Send a link on the channel. But yes, now Ripple. We'll touch on this and we'll get the hell out of here quickly. You can see where I bought it, 17 cents. July, people, 17 cents. It was what, $3 I reckon just a few days ago. I've still got that Ripple. And you know what sucks about Ripple? And this is what I say, and I laughed at people who buy this shit and actually doesn't know the technology behind it. Ripple and IOTA. Let me talk about your wallets for a second. Now, it costs you to maintain your Ripple wallet. Now, this is already, Ripple is used by banks. To use your Ripple wallet, you have to have a balance that stays there of 20 Ripple. Now, it sounds like a bank charge to me. So, look, irony coming right through there, but it's going to cost me to send it to another wallet. I think I've got to have the balance in that other wallet too, so I can't win. Maybe when that's a few $1,000s, yeah, that ain't going to happen. But I learned, okay? So, look, that Ripple was looking nice there, and I could have cashed that in for a lot less than I paid for it. But the mechanics of actually using Ripple, I think you need to have a lot of Ripple to actually use Ripple. So if you're transferring 20 billion Ripple across the globe for 20 Ripple, then yeah, no worries. And if that's all it costs to keep those wallets up and running is 20 Ripple, then to a bank, that's no problem. But I guess to someone who's only got 80 Ripple, it could be pretty painful. It's an expensive way to do business. So again, horses and courses and technologies. And again, with IOTA, I bought IOTA in July in the wallet, and a few things changed, and they took some snapshots, and then I used the new IOTA wallet, and it took me 2 hours to work out how to get it. Mind you, I worked out how to get my money back from the Tangle, whereas a lot of people, I think, gave up. So half the time with these technologies, you go to use the actual wallet design for it, or the technology behind it, and you'll go, shit, why did I invest in this? And the real reason is, and at the end of the day, profit. You can't hand this shit to your kids. You can go, here's my ledger, here's some numbers, but there's nothing physical you can hand them. So at the end of the day, what we're really going to do with this at some point or another, whether it's now or 50 years, or your kids doing it, or while they're dancing on your graves going, thank you, Dad, for investing, they're going to cash. or the system will change. So the system will say you don't need a cash, and we'll allow this to come into the system, and it'll become mainstream. But for the meantime, I don't see that happening. I see, you're going to go out and take it out through an exchange. So, that's my little session on basically my breakdown of what I've invested and why I invested. I'm going to finish this video, and I'm going to go straight into a video about our friend at GEM, so don't miss that one. Again, if you like what I've said, now I'll just quickly go through and make sure I haven't missed out on anything. And by all means, keep records. See, this stuff gives you a breakdown. Again, this is a bit out of kilt. It's been a while because I've used apps on my phone, but where you can, keep records, and if you can, learn from your wins and your losses. You can get your data feeds in here from CoinMarketCap and stuff. And look, I was messing around with spreadsheets before. I wouldn't say before Bellina, but look, I've always been a person that if I can record information, look at it later, and go, what did I learn from that? Especially some scams. I don't think I've gone through. There's some stuff down the bottom here. DNT. Yeah, so I've kept some records, but not total, because most of that's done on exchange now. Main things I've learnt is when you've done ICOs, if you're not sure about it, don't invest in it, or don't invest too much in it. And you could be happily wrong, or you could be mildly pissed. I would rather be mildly pissed than utter pissed. But don't do anything more than 5% of your capital on anything, a day trade, whatever. And also just remember that scales up. So, if you're losing $100, if you're losing, just say 10% at $500, and you see 50, and you go, it's only 50. Well, then it should be no different to you than if you're seeing $500 come off of 5,000. All right, you look at the percentages. So if you made yourself 20%, have a look at your graphs, try and get an idea what's going on. You might find that's a nice exit point. 20% is 20%. Like I said, there's some guys out here that'll tell you they'll make 50,000 million trillion percent every. They've probably got some. As you get through your first couple of months and you survive it, and you start growing your capital, you'll probably find that things start to pick up a lot quicker if you're doing things the right way, because your return, remember, is only your initial. So if I start off with $50. And I'll tell you what I've done now. In the first 3 weeks, let's say it was $300, and that $300 2 weeks later becomes $500, and then 1 week later it becomes $700. It just starts to slowly pick up. The pace starts to pick up. But in the same way, if the market pulls back and you've got a bigger bit of capital, be prepared to see some red and just go, yep, I can live with that. Anyway, cancel it here. I'm going to have a quick look at my. Also, remember when these people are talking about profits, the metrics in the market was different. Back then, there was less regulations, and things have changed. Back in July, ICOs went $1 million a dozen. They're pretty easy to identify a good one from a bad one. Now it's so freaking noisy, it's not funny. Alright? And hopefully we'll get through some good ones and show you how to probably see some of the shit ones. As I said, ICOs, don't mind them. Any ICO that's got in a country where its regulation gives you a little leg to stand on. Research, as I said, be prepared to pass on them. There's that many ICO right now. You can pass on 20 and still stumble on 5 more. Alright, so don't be worried that you don't feel like you have to invest in all of them. And also, when you invest in them, start to have a look at the timelines and stuff. So you might find different spots to make money. You might go, look, they've got a hit in the exchange in the next 2 weeks. Cool, I'll hold till then. But if they're going to release a mainnet or something, and 2 weeks after that, well, you probably want to maybe sell a little bit of the exchange in case the mainnet news is disappointing. But if the mainnet news is good, off you go. Look at ways to cash out and let it run at the same time. Daily trade, well, we won't go there. That's a different thing. That's graphs and shit. We'll go there later. Always keep an eye on socials too. So even if you have a long-term hold, keep an finger on the pulse. OMG have a way of dropping the ball. Neo did it. Couple of shitty Twitter tweets, bit of sentiment, price drops to your ass. Good buying opportunity, especially if you didn't get out in time. So keep an eye on those things. Some of these big companies have a good way of reducing prices very quickly overnight. It's kind of like the saying, how do you become a millionaire? Well, you're a billionaire and get married. Okay. And always keep an eye on what's going on with regulators and stuff. So exactly what's happening, for example, as I said, with the exchange ICOs I've bought into, Binance, Bittrex and all the big ones, I think right now aren't able to keep up with the influx of new users. So I think the suspended new users, that's kind of opened the gates unexpectedly for small exchanges to pick up a lot of volume. Now, I couldn't have predicted that. There's a lot of things we couldn't predict, except for China banning Bitcoin 3 times a year. But sometimes these events just happen, and you got to go, oh, well, okay, what's going on here? And then you might actually find, if you weren't in the ICO and you know something's happening, and one exchange is starting to pick up, and you start seeing volume, who knows, might be time to invest in a small exchange. I'm not telling you to invest in these guys. Don't invest in anything that I've shown you today just because I've said so. But I've just kind of gone through the mindset of what I've done now. And in last to finish off, it's basically I've got 1,500% return roughly in about 5 months, and I'm happy to, as much without giving too much away. I'm not worried about giving away trade secrets. I couldn't give a shit. I'm just more worried about giving my wallet addresses away. Yeah, I'm happy to validate as much as I can. I'm also willing to. There's a couple ICOs that have been very close to my chest. They're private ones. And I'm still, look, I've got some good money. They're low cap. They do have other rounds, and what I'll be waiting for is just a track record before I start going, okay, everyone, have a look at these ones, because they're not up for major public review. So when they open up the doors, I think they'll open it up in such a way it'll be, first in, best dressed. But look, I'll be in before you guys, and that's what I'm saying. Don't trust everyone. Motivations when it comes to money, it's different. So alright, I'm going to start waffling on. Thank you. Subscribe. Keep an eye out for my next one. It's going to be talking about our friend Gem. Bear with me.